to start with, just happy for our team. You know, to have a game, you go 0 for 21 from the three-point line when I feel like we're a pretty good shooting team. You just have to find a way in those days. And we did that in the second half. I really thought we were the most aggressive team in the second half. Got to the foul line 24 times and really attacked and obviously forced, I think, the second most turnovers since we've been here. And I think Ivory was a big part of that second half, getting us going offensively and making some plays. And then I thought Amarah played really well for her first game to have 18 points and 7 for 11 from the field. Did a great job of getting to the hoop and making plays. So proud of our team. You know, it wasn't our prettiest shooting night, but sometimes you find a way and move on. And you know, this team, we need to celebrate the little victories. And today we had a little victory that we were the most aggressive team in the second half, and we found a way when our shooting wasn't at its best.
Coach, I mean, how important is it for the two flanking you to do what they did when you're not making any threes?
Yeah, these two, their best gifts are getting to the rim, and they're both really good at that. And you know, Amarah 7 for 11 from the field, and Ivory had 14 shots, and a lot of those were layups. So she did a great job of getting to the rim and making plays. And Ivory also had 6 offensive rebounds, which showed, you know, just the energy she played with in the second half. And they also both were really good in the press as well.
There's been a lot of talk about your newcomers, a lot of talk about your trees, but what does Amarah give you, I guess, just kind of from that spot?
Yeah, I think that swagger, that knows that she can play. And she showed that in the exhibition game, you know, just right immediately, first play, she gets right to the rim, makes a layup, and she did that today as we put her in, too. She gets to the rim, and she knows she's good, she's got some toughness to her. And you know, kids that are tough make plays, and when it's on, and she did that, and certainly her ability to pressure the ball. You know, 10's a really good point guard, and she's a kid that shot it really well last year, and this kid that averaged 16 points. She had 32 in their exhibition. For forced 8 turnovers out of that point guard is saying something, because she's a pretty solid point guard. I bet there won't be too many Summit games where that kid turns it over more than a couple times.
Amarah, how did you feel out there?
I felt good. Nervous it's the first game, my first Big Ten game. So, but once he called my name, I knew it was my time. And I just went out there and played. So I didn't let much get to me.
When you got that first shot to drop, did that maybe take a little bit of the pressure off you?
A lot. It took a lot of pressure off of me. It just showed that it was just going to be openings in the game. So I knew I had to attack. Threes weren't falling for some teammates, so we knew that we had to adjust, and I knew that me and Ivory are the strongest people to get to the rim, so we had to use that ability to help the team out.
And Ivory, you picked up a couple of fouls early in the first half and had to sit, for most of that. Did you feel like you had some new ground to make up when you got back in the game in the second half and get scoring?
I mean, sitting on the bench, I know it hurts to just, after making those 2 mistakes, rebounding. But when I was on the bench, I was cheering my teammates on and giving them heads up of what to do, so they won't make mistakes like I did. And so just providing help on the bench and just acting like I'm on the floor as well. So
you got your offense going on in the second half. Was that just a case of wanting to attack and maybe get to the basket?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm supposed to do. Like, a lot of people look up to me, and then it's my last year, and I gotta lead this team where it needs to be. And like the second half, I didn't want to make any more mistakes and show my teammates that I don't want to make any more fouls, and I deserve to stay on the court as much as I can to help the team.
Matt, do you feel like you'll learn a lot about the team the next game? I know last year with the loss to Bradley, this one being pretty close, where you find if it was just, hey, we got the nerves out, now let's go play, or if there's some issues that are continuing.
Yeah, I think we're going to be a work in progress, and we're going to always want to be better. Again, I think it's really important that we celebrate the things that we did well today. And yeah, obviously, one of the things we challenge them a lot: who's going to be the first one to make one? Make a 3. And if we could have made one early in the first, I think we're up 8-3 or 7-3, and had 4 or 5, really good looks from good shooters. I think we make 1 or 2 of those, we get going, and probably the game looks a little bit differently. So Tuesday will be another challenge, and Team Robert Morris that played in the NCAA tournament, and then we play Memphis Thursday, a team that has a great chance to win their conference. So 2 good teams coming here next week, and we got to be up for the challenge and keep getting better.
After the exhibition, you said defense was going to be your focus. I mean, how did you feel like it went today?
Yeah, I felt like our defense helped us win that game, and our energy level that we played with the second half and the forced turnovers that we did, You know, we think for us to go over 21 and win the game by 7 says a lot about our defense and our hustle.
And Shatrice, you know, ended up with a double-double before she fouled out. It was again maybe a case where a little stronger in the second half than in the first half. I mean, she had some foul trouble too. But.
Yeah, I thought she played better in the second half and looked a lot more confident. And you know, in her and Kylie's injuries have really, you know, hurt where they're at conditioning wise. So they're gonna have to work through it, and they're gonna have to at times be a little bit tired and still be able to play. And you know, I think those two are tough enough to get that done and do it. But I was proud of Shatrice that the way she played in the second half and just the, you know, the presence she is. She'd tell you today she didn't have her best game. She still had 15 points and 10 rebounds in 24 minutes. So she's a special talent and is going to make some difference for us.
Coach, heading into the half, not being any threes, is that an adjustment you thought you had to make with full court press to, you know, create the transition, you know, offense?
Yeah, you know, I just felt like we want to have that mix of man and zone. And I know when we turn it up in our press, especially with these two on the floor, and you could kind of get a feel for what the other team looks like when you're pressing. And you know, and I felt like it looked good right from the start, and we looked aggressive on the ball and played, you know, forced them to play faster than they wanted to play. So you know, I think that was really important throughout the second half, that we sped them up, and even though we gave up some threes, we turned them over, and that helped us get some points as well.
Coach, you guys had a big rebounding. You guys were down a lot rebounding in the first half, but you definitely narrowed the gap by the end of the game. What do you think you can kind of attribute the second half rebounding to?
Yeah, I really felt like the first half we let our missed shots affect our energy. Early in the game we got some offensive rebounds, and then we let the fact that we missed a lot of open shots affect our energy. And I thought we were way better. We challenged them at halftime, said, hey, you got to be a great player even if you don't make shots. And I thought we did a way better job. And Ivory getting the offensive boards, Shatrice getting the offensive boards, Jackie as well getting the offensive boards made a big difference in the second half.
And Amarah, is being a spark off the bench like a role that you can really embrace throughout the season?
Yeah, most definitely. Coming off the bench really doesn't bother me as long as I know once I get in the game, I'm going to play hard for my team, play defense for my team, and help them win. So being on the bench has no effect on my play at all.
Yeah, one thing coaches say a lot, it's not who starts the game, it's who finishes it. And she was on the court at the end of that game.
And speaking of, I mean, it looked like you went 9 deep today. Is that sort of a rotation you feel like you're going to have throughout the season, or is it still working?
Yeah, I think it's a little early to tell, but obviously today we had a lot of foul trouble, which dictated a little more subs. But you know, I was really proud of Kennedy. The only shot she made was the two to give us the lead back, so that was huge. And you know, Amarah played great off the bench, and Brooke did some things as well. So you know, I think we got some different kids that'll step up and make plays for us and give us some energy off the bench.
I mean, with the foul trouble in the first half, I think at one point 4 out of 5 starters had 2, you know, each. I mean, how did you feel like the team kind of handled that with, you know, a different kind of mix of players out there?
Yeah, you know, I think that to put us in a situation, it's a little early for me to have a feel for which kids can play with 2 and which kids can't. You know, we'd love to be able to play Ivory with 2, but she's got to then be disciplined not to pick up third. And last year she picked up third a few times, so we got to figure that out, you know, and get a feel for who can play. Some kids can play with 2 and go in the half room and still have 2, and other kids, you know, they pick up the third, and then boy, it's not a real good move to put them back on the floor when they got the second. So you know, it's a little early to have that. I don't know exactly, you know, how much we'll play with 2, but we'd like to have that option some here or there when we need it.
So there's an incredible number of offensive fouls called on both ends, and was that just the way that game was going to go? Or?
Yeah, you know, the one thing is amazing because the men's game they do the opposite. If it's close, they call it a block. In our game, if it's close, they call it a charge. Now they're pretty consistent. They do it both ways, so it rewards you for trying to take charges. The one thing I don't like is, you know, it kind of rewards flopping. And so when you get hit, if you fall, there seems to be a whistle, you know, more. But you know, I think we got to be disciplined and working at taking charges and being really good at that. When you do that, it gets rewarded, and it's something they're looking for. And it's obviously something that we need to get better at. We did it in the exhibition game. We took some today as well, and we've been working hard in practice and getting better at taking charges.
Coach, since Shatrice was starting to get into foul trouble, you kind of lost some of your size advantage. How do you have your team adjust when they lose a player with her kind of size?
Yeah, one thing is just being aggressive. You know, I think quickness can beat height as long as your quickness is aggressive. And as we rotate, making sure that we're real aggressive as we go. You know, Amarah's a big guard, Kennedy's a big guard. Those guys can get rebounds and make plays, you know, as long as they're playing aggressively. And I don't think that, I think we can still rebound, still make plays, even as we rotate if we get in foul trouble.
Matt, I'm just curious how many games you coached in where your team has ever shot 0 of 21 from 3, and how many games you coached in where your team has forced 35 turnovers?
Yeah, I don't think both of those are, might be stats that might be the only time. Yeah, I know we've had games we didn't shoot the ball. I don't remember going 0 for 21, especially as well as this team shoots it. I mean, we really have some kids that can make shots, but just couldn't. And sometimes that's really important. You know, in the future, that's something. Who's going to make the first one for us? You know, I know Kylie can really shoot it. Brittany can really shoot it. You know, we need somebody to step up and make that first one for us and take the lid off. That first one's the toughest one, and sometimes it leads to some more.